Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to a fantastic episode on this topic, the individual defense, which is super challenging and super fun right now. And this is more a PvP event, or in other words player versus player event, than it actually is a PvE event, which means player versus environment. And what this video will do, we're gonna give you the 3 most important steps when it comes down to you achieving the best result possible in the individual defense. Now, when you see the score right here, and also probably watch a couple of my videos on this channel, you probably said a couple of times, oh my god, Timmy, you are such a whale. And guess what? You're absolutely fine, because that's exactly what I'm saying when I have a look at what results other players on this great server 2216 can achieve. So don't worry about it, just enjoy it, accept the challenge, because it's absolutely super fun. So we have 3 steps. Steps number 1 is going to be the preparation stage, which is going to be super important. I'm going to explain you that. Second stage is going to be in which you are starting the event. And the third stage is the tricky part stage, because while the event is running, you have to do a lot of changes. And of course, these 3 stages have a couple of sub points, and you definitely should watch this video till the end in order to have a lot of fun and achieve the best result possible. So I won't include basic steps in this tutorial. Like for example, yeah, sure, you should definitely organize a buffing party with your friends. That's definitely gonna help. And the second most basic thing is you're definitely gonna need the help from the mechanic master to set a strengthening tower and also an urgent care tower on the ground. That's definitely gonna help you. Good. Let's start with the preparation stage, which has a couple of sub stages. So first of all, what's super important is to prepare for this event, and what you need is, hopefully you have saved a couple of very important battle reports from the previous individual defense. If you haven't done so, good, you are starting up now, and I'm also going to explain you which rounds you definitely must save. And of course, we're going to use my account here as a reference point. So the first most important battle report you are looking for is the one in which you indeed were gonna lose a couple of units, but you're still actually gonna win in the end. That's super important for you to know for later on. And the second most important battle report is the battle report in which you start to lose your heavy troopers, but you kind of still succeed to win. Good for a couple of you guys. Probably it's gonna be literally the same stage. It doesn't matter. Important is you know exactly what wave that is. The second important point in this preparation stage is actually to check your marches setup, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is more PvP kind of environment because the opponents are super strong. Therefore, please pay attention and have the damage equipped on all your heroes which you are gonna use in this event. But not just that, also have a look at your components and make sure they look exactly like this. In other words, this is the PvP setup, absolutely super important. The third most important point in this preparation stage is you have to assess the strength of your account. So what am I trying to tell you? Here you see my setup for the tanks, for the planes, and for the navy. While these heroes indeed look perfect, there still is a big difference in performance. So my strongest march on my account are my tanks. Therefore also I have chosen to go towards level 7. That exclusive skill for some of the heroes, in this case Gypsy, Striker and Pope, all 3 have level 7 exclusive skill. Now this is not super relevant for you, and it doesn't mean you have to go buy the level 7. What I'm trying to tell you, yes, the tanks are the most efficient and best unit in TOPWAR right now, and there is simply no question about that. Therefore, it's my main march. My second strongest march in my base, of course, are the planes, which is Brady with level 5, Shinji with level 7, and Abad with level 5. And of course, I have a perfect hero setup for the navy, which is Lila with Stromoy and Zen, though all 3 heroes have just level 5 exclusive skill, and this is very important piece of information, and you're gonna understand this later on in the video why this assessment is super important. The fourth most important thing within this preparation stage, of course, you guessed it, are the heavy troopers. Now, it doesn't matter if you do not have full modules on all heavy troopers. If you already have 4 modules, you can already deploy this heavy trooper, and you definitely have to take advantage of this. In other words, please make sure each heavy trooper is set exactly the way you want it. So I'm gonna give you my example here. I have the yellow heavy trooper and I have the Blazo heavy trooper. Both of them are set for the tanks. I have the luminary heavy trooper, which we're gonna mention later on in the video, and also the red heavy trooper. Both are set for the planes, and of course I have the weird blue guy set for the navy. So with all these steps being done, you are ready to start the event, which is basically the second stage, in which you are starting this event, and you should definitely take advantage of speeding up these marches. No point to wait that long, but please, again, make sure you stop speeding these marches around about 2 to 3 battery ports before you know you are reaching that critical point for which you actually have prepared in the preparation stage. So good, that's pretty much kind of the second step, but now we are coming to the tricky part stage, which is the third step. And here you have to pay attention to a couple of things. First of all, your buffs should be running, or you're starting your buffs right now. This is super important to mention. Of course, depending on which base skins you have, also you should definitely use Amalia buffs if you have them. You should definitely use all the buffs from Villers, because today is also not a PvP day anyways, you won't need it. And then you are reaching the second step, which is setting your defense. Now this step is absolutely super important to understand, because your base defense has actually 2 tabs, not just one, so please pay attention to that. This is your main line of defense, but what's also super important in order to squeeze the best results possible from your account strength perspective, you definitely have to play around also with the second tab. And while we are in here, please make sure you have the correct hero selected, and not just that, also make sure you have everywhere the shark formation selected. The shark formation is the strongest formation we have on game right now, and also at the same time being the oldest formation, meaning for each player, your shark formation should definitely be the highest developed formation you have, and definitely take advantage of this. So let's start with this scenario in which the next wave is gonna be planes. Now what you're gonna do, of course, is set the tanks as your main line of defense. Now here you have to pay attention, just in case you lost a heavy trooper, make sure you set another unit in there. This is super important. What's also super important to mention, just in case you are a new player, if you have the encirclement researched, which is this one right here, there is no point for you to use also navy and planes in that setup, because the main setup are the tanks. This will automatically count for you. Good. So we have set the tanks right now as the main line of defense, and the opponent are planes. And here you also have to click on this tab right here. Super important. So you definitely have to take in consideration that your first lines of defense will gonna be wiped out. So because my opponent are planes, I'm gonna select here the first march, which will gonna defend me after your main defense line is down, should be army, because I still have suppression on my side. Then this, make sure the second one is gonna be Air Force, because in this case it's gonna be Air Force versus Air Force. At least nobody has the suppression advantage. And of course, I'm gonna set the navy to be the last line of defense, because in this case my opponent will definitely gonna have the suppression, but also at the same time the opponent will slightly have less units. So yeah, it is what it is. So that's how you are setting your defense. But we are not quite done yet here, because after the individual defense boss hit me with the planes, the next wave is gonna be tanks, and that's why you have prepared so well in the preparation stage, knowing, for example, in my case, my tanks will still gonna be far stronger than my navy. Therefore, I'm gonna keep it like this, the tanks being the first line of defense, but I'm going into the more option tab, and I'm gonna set the first backup to be army again, because my army is so strong. After that, I'm gonna set navy in here, because in this case, I'm gonna have the suppression on my side. And of course, the last line of defense will gonna be the Air Force. So please pay attention of this, is super important. So this is pretty much the defense. So please pay attention. And of course, what's super important, please never forget to press this button right here, save, otherwise this won't take effect. So now we are done on how to set your defense properly between the waves. And of course, I don't have to tell you, do not use the speed up option right now. In order for you to finish faster, take advantage of this time, because there's something else which you should take in consideration when it comes down to this crucial stage in which you are right now. Of course, these are the skins. Now, what I have used in this event is the Bear of Hearts. Sometimes also I use the Air Force Fortress, but of course there are some pretty great skins out there also, like the Mountain Academy, which is a universal base skin, and it's going to apply this extra 10% damage increase no matter what unit type it's actually fighting. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that we're definitely going to mention the Luminary Knight Heavy Trooper, because this has a lower recovery, in this case 6 minutes. And of course, for this session of individual defense, I was able actually to use the Luminary Knight again, and let me show you basically the end result for me. You have it here. The wave 40 actually killed me. So good, beautiful people, this is pretty much everything regarding the individual defense. Of course, what we have to definitely mention here, an absolutely fantastic event. Please make sure you save these crucial battle reports for the next session. And of course, what we also want to mention, and we must mention, if you have a look for yourself at the rewards, they are also absolutely fantastic. And here you go. You can have another glimpse of what are the best results server 2216 have achieved in this individual defense. And it definitely was a lot of fun for me. So anyways, beautiful people, as always, don't forget to support what supports you back since November 2022, which is, yes, it's me, it's this channel, either with great videos, either with answering tons of DMs, between 200 and 300 DMs every single day. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, make sure you share this channel with your friends, and also make sure to possibly see me in the next episode. Ciao guys, thank you very much for watching.